Everybody, Quad Nines here. This is game one of round one. So I'm just gonna get the start here. I won the die roll. Kept my opener. Got the spin ancestral on turn one, which is about one of the better things you can do in this deck. It was a lot of fun to play. I had some tough games actually. Not a lot of win conditions in the deck. Win conditions in the deck is what I meant to say. The looter was big game. Just really getting to filter through the cards that I thought weren't good in whatever matchup. Now this was scary. Necropotence on turn 3. Now granted, one of my win conditions is brain freeze, so if he just gets real crazy and draws too many cards, then it makes it easier for me. But at the same time, this draw is not looking great. I decided to thought season, see what he's got going on. I take the counter spell, which is by far the most important thing. Sorry if the speed's going too fast. Doing it in replay mode is really the best way for me to do it on here, because when I do this while playing, like usually the first game's fine. The recording part's not bad. It's just to start another recording, I have to save the previous one, and the saving and recording and playing, it just really bogs down my computer. And I'm not the fastest player online, especially during Cube with all the different triggers and whatnot. So it tends to time me out sometimes, and I hate losing games by timing out. So thought I'd give this a try. You see here he Vamp Tutor for Go for the Throat to kill my looter, because it'd been doing a lot of work. And just when he's going to draw the card, I gifts, and he, for some reason, it gives me he pitches the Progenitus, and I think, well, but he gives me the Demonic Tutor, which doesn't really do what you want it to do, I don't believe. So in this case, what I'm going to do is, you saw play Browse Eric, untap Mighty Mirror Aqueduct to show and tell in Progenitus. He's got a Simic Sky Swallower. Still can't get through. He's dead to, he can't come in one turn, so he's dead to Progenitus there. Turn 6, show and tell Progenitus in against the Necropotence deck. Pretty good. Everything worked out alright. Brain freeze option wasn't really there, but show and tell Progenitus, good way to win. Okay, here we go. Still round one, game 2. Had Mulligan this time. Didn't really get much, but I thought, one land with Brainstorm and Ponder, usually going to get there as far as like hitting your land drops. Like I said, saw Lewis's deck earlier, blue-black control, kind of scary, because he had some pretty strong cards, but then he had some counter spells. His kill spells didn't do a whole lot, but neither do mine in a lot of matchups like this. I had a couple, so I just took that opportunity to play Go for the Throat. Luckily, I saw where he splashed in the green for, besides the Simic Sky Swallower was Garrick. I had the Is It Charm to counter that, and then wheeled into Ancestral with a land to play it. Of course, he is drawing as many cards as me, so I'm kind of scared. I kind of want to get the game over with fast, but I'm not drawing my real gas. As you can say, now I've got this Ancestral suspended, just really wanting to be able to hold off till it goes off. Now, also thinking if I can pull out some of his counter spells, that'd be better, as once Ancestral fires off, I don't want him to have a lot of counters to go around, because whenever I draw for it, it's going to be the ones I really want to resolve. Here he's got his own Factor Fiction, and I realized during this that he's the reason my Storm deck isn't as stormy as it could be. He's got Yawgmoth's Will, he's got a lot of tutoring effects, stuff like that. The green mana, I'm thinking maybe he's got the Heartbeat of Spring, because Garrett Relentless is one thing to splash green for, but in what I'm guessing is a Storm deck, doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. So once again, he's countering some stuff I don't really care about. He countered Raw Zarek, which is just playing to get it out. There's Heartbeat of Spring. I'm like, okay, I'm going to untap with all this mana, but he has just enough to cast Palinchron. I'm going to spare you this. I'm going to speed it up a little bit. What he's doing, he's going to combo off. I've got a good feeling he's got Tendrils in hand. That's the only Storm card that it could be, really. And the only reason for him to be doing this, he's trying to make a bunch of mana, and he's getting all the Storm triggers from casting Palinchron a bunch of times. And it is not wanting to fast forward for me here. Okay, yeah, there it's going to go through. I made him do it because time was kind of a factor. I was about 3 or 4 minutes ahead at that point, so I sped it up here. So you can see he cast it some other times, then tendrils me for at 10, so he's all the way down. So game 2 goes to the other Storm deck. So let's see if we can pull out a win in game 3. Okay, here we are in game 3. Of the round 1 matchup. You saw in game 2 I lost to a Storm deck. I'm a Storm deck, but he had some pretty good draws and just had counters when he needed them. Here he goes drawing more cards. Here he even had to discard a land, which when they're just don't worry about discarding on turn 2. They got a pretty decent hand. Here my looter, like I said, did a lot of work for me this match especially. So really like getting him out on turn 2. The Coalition Relic doesn't bother me as much. I know he's splashing green and it's a little bit of ramp, but compared to some other stuff he's done on turn 3, it wasn't that bad. Here I'm just kind of trying to dig through my deck. I do have my Brain Freeze and Wheel of Fortune, so I like those. I thought about countering the Wrench Mine for a second, but I thought no, just pitch the land and the Control Magic, because the Control Magic really doesn't do anything in this matchup. He has some Sky Swallow, which isn't a target. He had some small creatures I didn't care about. So I held it, countered the repeal, bounced the Coalition Relic. Luckily, I do draw a land to play there. I wouldn't hit all my land drops. He's got this Reaver, which I don't want to get hit with at all, to be honest. Really want to... Okay, so I'm going to filter through my lands. Got plenty of lands here. Wheel of Fortune, with it on the stack, I Brain Freeze, which really isn't the best thing to be doing here. I'm going to get his hand and mill him a good bit. So he's down on, he's got less cards in his library than I do, but then I'm about to draw off Ancestral. So mill plan kind of out the window. The one reason I did that was one of the Wheel of Fortune, I'd have plenty of cards, so when he does hit me with a Reaver, I can discard, a land or something like that. This is letting me, try and use one of my other win conditions besides Brain Freeze. And luckily I'm drawing into them. This Rolling Earthquake, I got a feeling should be pretty good, but of course I got the Zealous Conscripts as well, with a pseudo counter in the Is It Charm. Of course, unfortunately, he Silent Spectred me, so I discarded the Charm and the Rolling Thunder. Here I just really have to hope he doesn't have a counterspell. So I go for the Zealous Conscript's going to take his Spectre and swing in. He's going to block the Kavu. I thought about trying to kill the... I was going to kill the Spectre before I had to give it back to him with Ultimate Price, so that way he would have no creatures on board, and I would just have a couple turns where I had to... So move this out of the way. Sorry. A couple turns to kill him where he had to draw an answer pretty soon, and I had an Ancestral about to go off as well. Got him down to 1. He didn't draw an answer even with Future Sight. He's got Forbid, which is going to be a big problem, but he can't get rid of both my guys. So we got a little lucky here. Like I said, the Brain Freeze didn't really get into effect, but I did make him pitch the cards he had and mill a few others while getting a full grip back myself. So on to round 2.